What's going on, guys? It's Diver, and today we're going to be taking a look at which is the best optic attachment in Black Ops 4. So let's get into it. Now the gun I'm going to be using today is going to be the Maddox. I'm going to use the Maddox because it's a really popular weapon and it's actually a very good weapon, and obviously if you've been killed by it before or you've used it a lot, you know. Now the first sight I want to start off with is the iron sight. Of course, everyone has to use the iron sight at some point when they use any weapon. We're going to use it as a bit of a control group so we can use it to compare against the other optics and notice their recoil patterns compared to the iron sights and how much accuracy increase they do have. Now the attachments I'm running on every single one of these Maddoxes that I'm going to be showing you in this video and comparing are just the optics. There's no quick draw, there's no stock, there's no grip, there's no anything else. It's just the optic. So let's start with the iron sights, and we're just going to aim down sight. I'm not going to pull down on the trigger or anything, and we're just going to take note of how much sway it has first of all, and then we're going to go take note of the recoil pattern. Now the recoil pattern is almost like a T. You've probably seen this before, people have explained this before, but this video is going to be a little different because there's one optic that I'm going to use that's really going to just blow people away, and they're going to ask me why I use it, and well, they're going to see. But you can see this recoil pattern is kind of weird because your aim really needs to be all controlled by your fingers, and it's very predictable. However, it's very sporadic sometimes, and when you're using this in game, it gets really hard to control at random points. It pretty much does whatever it wants when you don't want it to. Now the next optic we're going to be using is the ELO. The ELO is the most popular optic because there's great visibility and it's not clunky. You don't feel like you're carrying something on top of the gun that you shouldn't be carrying, or it's just a big round object or anything like that. It has a lot of visibility, your peripherals are fine, they're not blocked, and there's nothing really stopping you from seeing anything around you. Now of course the ELO has been nerfed and buffed, especially on the Maddox and other weapons throughout the life cycle of Black Ops 4. But we're just going to aim down sights, and again, there's no other attachments besides the optic. There's no quick draw, grip, anything else like that. So we're just going to aim down sights, and then I'm going to aim up a little bit just so it's on par with where the iron sight Maddox was. I'm going to aim down sight and just fire. Now that's a big difference compared to where the iron sight Maddox was. It was a lot smaller and tighter of a spread, and you kind of had a smaller T shape, but this is really big and it almost kind of looks like a palm tree shape, but it's just pretty big of a pattern, and it's really random and sporadic sometimes, especially at longer ranges, which is where you find a lot of people most of the time. And you want to challenge them, and you do, and you lose because the Maddox isn't really reliable unless you're used to the recoil pattern and you use this thing all the time. Now the next optic we're going to use is the reflex sight. It's not really too popular, but you'll see some people using it over the ELO just because they think it's a lot more accurate. And well, we'll test this today and see, but personally I do think it's a lot more accurate, but right now we're about to test that out. Now, as you can tell from aiming down sights, it is a little bit clunkier and obscures your view a little bit, but it's not to the point where it's terribly abysmal to use. So let's just aim down sights, again, no other attachments, just the optic, and we're going to test out how this recoil pattern goes. Now if you look at that, it's a lot better than the ELO sight. Now of course I've had this hunt for a while. It's a lot better than the ELO sight, and it's a lot easier to handle. Now a lot of people just don't use it because they prefer ELO, they prefer the visibility, and they prefer not seeing any frame around their gun on the screen. But if you really want to win those gunfights, especially at long ranges, the reflex is a lot better to use. Now there's one more sight that I'm going to show you that I think is the best sight to run on any weapon. Well, not for any weapon, but a lot of the ARs and some SMGs that do have this optic available to them are really good. Now this next optic you're seeing on my screen, yes, it's the dual zoom. And do I think the dual zoom is really good? Yes, I do. Before I even tell you and show you about this optic, I'm going to let you see two Twitch clips that I got using this optic while we're playing a competitive match. On bottom left. Grapple, he grappled. Backing up. Back. Dude, a regular Maddox cannot hit that. I'm telling you. If it shows both, the regular Maddox can't hit. He just went back in.
No, they're going back to A, dude. Oh, shit. Oh my god!
Now the dual zoom is pretty much never used. I've never seen anyone use it unless they're probably just getting a challenge done or they're really low level. They don't really know what they're doing. It's pretty clunky, and that's pretty much the main reason no one uses it. When you aim down sights, it obscures your view a lot. But let's just aim down sight, again, no other attachments, and we're gonna fire away. Now that recoil pattern is pretty much in between the iron sight and the reflex sight, the two best sights that we've used, and it's pretty much right in between them. So if anything, if you even want to use attachment or anything, this is the best attachment to use. I love it, and I haven't really stopped using it since I started using it, and people are kind of looking at me really weird. And if you absolutely destroy some kids and you get final kill cam, just, you know, zoom in on them. Don't even shoot their bodies. They'll get mad enough about this. So there you have it. There is proof that the dual zoom is probably one of the best sights that you can use on your weapon in Black Ops 4. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to every single weapon on the ICR. You still use a reflex. It's still the best. There's still no recoil. And even other weapons such as the Spitfire, the Maddox, the Vapor, the KN, this sight is really good to use, and I promise you, you won't regret it. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to give it a big thumbs up. Remember to go click that subscribe button down below if you liked it. If you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like in the comments section down below. And remember, have a nice day. Peace!